To solve this inequality, the first thing I want to think about doing is simplifying the left side of the inequality. And we know this is technically a -1 outside of the parentheses, and I'm going to distribute that -1 to both the 5x and the 1. Now we're looking at 2x minus 1 times 5x, so minus 5x, and then -1 times 1 is -1, greater than 11. Now we'll combine our like terms of 2x and -5x here. And we're looking at -3x minus 1 is greater than 11. And now it becomes a pretty simple inequality to solve. We'll add 1 to both sides, start getting x alone. We're looking at -3x is greater than 12. Now, before I do this last step, I want to pause for a second because when we multiply or divide an inequality on both sides by a negative number, multiply or divide by a negative number, something kind of happens with our inequality that we need to make sure we remember to do. So, real quick in the middle of this, let's look at this inequality. 4 is greater than 1. This is true. If I were to add 3 to both sides, we would have 7 is greater than 4. That's still true. If I were to multiply by 5 on both sides, we would have 35 is greater than 20. Also still true. However, if I were to divide both sides by, say, -5, divide both sides by -5, now I'm looking at the inequality. -7 is greater than -4. This is not true. We know -7 is less than -4. It's further away from 0 in the negative direction. So what happens was when I multiply or divide by this negative number, that inequality sign actually needs to flip around in order to preserve an accurate true statement. So I'll write that up at the top. When you divide or multiply by a negative number, we need to flip the inequality sign. So in this last step here, when I divide both sides by -3, I like to highlight or circle that inequality symbol to let me know and remind me that I need to flip that around. So -3x divided by -3 is simply 1x. And now I have this less than sign instead because x is now less than -4. And that's because we divided by a negative number. If I multiply or divide by that negative, I do need to flip the inequality sign. So here's my answer. X is less than -4. I can graph that off to the side here, make my -4. I want all the numbers less than -4, which is to the left of -4. And because it cannot be -4, I'm going to put an open circle here because -4 is not part of the solution. Again, we can still substitute a number back in like -5 or -10 to check my solution. And that would verify that x is less than -4 is the correct answer to this inequality. Just that final reminder, whenever you divide or multiply by a negative number in an inequality while you're solving it, you need to flip the sign. Less than becomes greater than, less than or equal becomes greater than or equal to,